Good afternoon. This is Atmospheric Alex here with another weather forecast and discussion on the upcoming pattern change coming for almost the entire United States. Today we will be talking about the extreme cold that could be coming soon and even the potential for some southern snowstorms to fire off here. As you can see why I have all of the snow icons way down south. We'll go into that later on in the video. So I first want to start off by looking at your Climate Prediction Center, and what we are seeing here over the next 6 to 10 days is, well, you can see it here, below average temperatures across much of the eastern US, above average temperatures across much of the western US. Yeah, we're starting to see this change underway here. It's been so warm lately across the east, especially caused a lot of problems like that tornado outbreak the other night. That was truly something. Very long duration event, and I'm thankful it's all over now, but we should be praying for the people who have been impacted down there, because there is a lot of damage to go through. Well, we have all of these below average temperatures here over the 6 to 10 day and persisting into the 8 to 14 day outlook. Yeah, take a look at that. An 80% chance of below normal temperatures. Yeah, for early to mid-January. This is the coldest time of the year, and seeing something like this is quite a bit concerning, and you'll go ahead and see why when we go over our high and low temperatures from the models. Now, of course, across the west we have above normal temperatures. Classic east-dominated cold pattern coming right up. Now, going more in depth on your 6 to 10 day outlook, you could see a precipitation map. Above average precipitation across the eastern US, other than the far northeast, but that is to be expected with all this cold air. Then across the west, below normal conditions. Now, I want to touch on the above normal conditions here. You can see it includes a lot of our areas that are under this below average chance of temperatures here, roughly extending like so. And yeah, I mean, this is quite important here. Seeing greens overlapping the blues, this would likely be a wintry weather here in the form of mostly snow. So, just kind of want to emphasize that point home. Snow chances will be increasing substantially here. And now for your 8 to 14 day precip outlook, I know the map kind of shifted a little there. We're talking about average conditions, well, across your far below average areas. Along the coastline, some above average precip, again in the form of wintry weather more than likely. So yeah, we have a very active pattern coming up, and for you winter weather fans, yes, I guess it's time to look forward to this. It is definitely on the models, and it's a lot more solidified now, and even by some of our professionals here at the Climate Prediction Center. Now we're going to take a look at some of our models here. Our EPS ensemble is the first one to go. And this is our forecasted temperature anomalies over the next 15 days. Well, we'll start off here. This is roughly today into tomorrow. We are talking here about very, very far above average temperature anomalies here. Take a look at this. Wow, we're talking about, areas 10 to 15, almost 20 degrees above average here in the plains, and then even into Canada, maybe up to 25 degrees above average. Insane. That is why it has felt like spring over the past few days. Really warm conditions here. But as we continue to take you through time, right when the ball drops on New Year's Eve, here comes your crash of cold air. Now, this will likely be coming in a few rounds. You can see this channel of colder air coming straight out of the Arctic regions here. And, well, we're going to keep forwarding this through. Here's your first blast on the 1st January. New Year's Day to the 2nd and to the 3rd. Yeah, take a look at that. Just well below average temperatures, about 10 degrees Fahrenheit below average here. And you can see, well, we have a lot more cold air starting to dump down here from British Columbia and points further northwest. You have all of your grape juice coming down, if you will. Yeah, take a look at this. Temperatures really begin to crash. Actually, we get another period of well below average temperatures around the 5th, the 6th. and then it moderates a little, and then, well, here we go for one more round. Boom! Look at that. This is when we could be talking about hazardous cold weather across much of the eastern U.S. Big time Arctic cool down. Look at this through here. Across portions of the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and into the Appalachia region and southeast. Temperatures around 20 to maybe 25 degrees Fahrenheit below average. Very cold weather on the way. Low temperatures in some areas could even get into the single digits to upper negatives. Oh, something you have not seen in a very long time. So you need to prepare for this. Get really warm clothing items just so you don't freeze out there, even if you have to go outside for 5 minutes. And this cold just sticks around and even gets stronger across the Appalachia region. That is going to be a focal point of the cold weather. And yeah, really cold weather and maybe some above average temperatures trying to moderate through. We're going to breeze through your GEFS because it shows the same exact thing. Temperatures well below average up here. You can see your first shot, and then your moderation period, second shot. This is all linked together. Just take a look at that. Very cold conditions still in play here in the GEFS ensemble. And add on to all this, I mean, there could even be other effects as well, such as maybe pipe bursts. All right, ponds, lakes freezing over. Great Lakes may start to freeze a little bit more, but ponds and maybe even some small rivers, creeks, streams in the southeast may end up developing a solid layer of ice on top of it. Just not what you want to see here at all. I love the snow. Not really the cold as much. When it gets this cold, though, no, I absolutely despise it. We do not want this to occur. Could lead to absolutely hazardous impacts. Flowing on through to your 500 millibar geopotential height anomaly. Basically anywhere where you see your blues and greens are storm system potential, and in your reds and tans is where you have less of a chance of a storm system. Even simpler than that, well, low pressure here, and then you've got high pressure up here. So I want you to think about that throughout the duration of this slideshow here. So again, this is the EPS model. You can see your first storm system rocketing on through, your second one coming through on Tuesday. I do expect maybe some high wind concerns for the mountains of, the Appalachians, very strong valley winds as well for your lower elevations, gusting potentially upwards or even over 40 miles an hour. So just a quick little FYI, you might want to bring some of your Christmas and New Year's decorations inside. It's going to get very windy on Tuesday. That moves on out of here. Tries to create a bit of a storm system in the northeast. You get the idea. Boom. Oh, goodness. Here is your first round here for storm system potential. Could really unload on the northeast here. We'll just have to watch model trends and precipitation trends as well. And this ridge kind of moves on out, breaks apart, and the dominant one forms out in the western U.S. here. Just take a look at that tall spiking ridge all the way up into British Columbia, going further north into Alaska and even going into the Arctic regions. What this will do is it will dislodge all of your cold air down south here. So you can see this just like that. You have all this cold air coming down here. You're going to have a lot of northern stream energy up here, southern stream energy down here. Sometimes they will collide and create potentially major snowstorm potential across, well, the Ohio Valley, northeast, and even in your southeast, maybe far southeast U.S. as well. Gonna have to watch that. But all this blocking up here, just look at this cold air funneling through, and boom, look at that big storm system forming across your eastern U.S. regions. And it's a little further west this time. Again, you have your northern stream energy right up here, and then you're going to have your southern stream energy right down here. If we're able to see any sort of a connection in the middle, if it kind of does something like this and crashes together, well, we could be talking about a significant snowstorm across some of those areas there. So please keep this in mind. This is really the time frame I'd watch out for, especially the southeast, all right? This is definitely the time frame I'd be watching for the southeast, okay? A lot of cold air coming down, a lot of moisture to work with. Looks amazing for snow lovers. Then this moves on out and dry cold air is to follow, and that will continue. Alright, so we just looked at what's happening way up there. Now we're going to look at what's happening way down here on your precipitation type chart. So your European model goes like this. You have a bit of a storm system moving into the Midwest. This is the one I talked about for tomorrow, and especially Tuesday as well. Could bring some isolated, maybe moderate to heavy snowfall concerns across portions of the Midwest. Getting on into Michigan, could potentially see a snowstorm out of this, and this moves on out. But what you'll begin to see here, you have another bit of a clipper here, and, well, you have a lot of cold air being moved much further south, as you can see from your heights. Have a bit of an Arctic high setting up here, dislodging tons of cold air down southeast here. And what's going to happen? You get a big-time winter storm right here, big-time breaking out across, look at that, the plains into the Midwest, the Ohio Valley. This model in particular, European model, wants a major ice storm, which, yeah, that would be really bad. And then quite the snowstorm going across the Midwest and going into the Northeast with some back-end northwest flow energy coming out of the Great Lakes, going down into your Appalachian Mountains here. And you may be thinking, alright Alex, here you go, hyping everything up again. What are you talking about, a southeast snowstorm? All I've seen is something big. Well, for the Midwest, the Great Plains, and the Ohio Valley. What on earth are you talking about? Wow, here you go again. No, okay. Let me explain. We're going to go out a little further, imagining this system brings down a lot of cold air with it. Wait, whoa. According to the European model, you have so much cold air crashing south that suddenly you have a snowstorm in southern Texas. San Antonio, moderate to heavy snow. Houston, light snow. Not a forecast, okay? I'll just bring that out there now. We're only looking at this to see model trends, okay? What does this pattern support? It does support something like this, but it's still not a forecast. And look at that big-time major winter storm across southern Texas here. Tons of snow along the Gulf Coast here. You even get some going into Florida, New Orleans getting on in some snow. And that, I mean, that's just crazy. Look at coastal Carolinas here. Really rides along a far southern extent, even along the I-10 corridor. Absolutely insane. Again, not a forecast. A lot of snow in the open Atlantic here. You get another storm system a little further north, and you got a decent hit for your southern Alps region here into your southern Ohio Valley. We'll have to wait and see, though. And then you can see, well, look at this, something towards the end of the model run here, trying to crash further south again. And who knows? Northern stream energy going down here. You may perhaps have some southern stream energy, going like this as well. And, well, possibly a major interaction in some of those same areas again. Now, we'll just have to wait and see, because this is not set in stone by any stretch of the imagination. Not a forecast, okay? Moving to your GEFS model here, this also shows temperature, so this will be very useful just to see how cold it might be getting. We are seeing your first storm system here, temperatures in the mid-30s, maybe some snow flying around. Some northwest flow. Some models actually indicate some heavy snow squall activity going points further off to your northwest here. Some models are showing this actually moving into Middle Tennessee and Eastern Tennessee on Wednesday afternoon. Not exactly sure if I'm buying this. Temperatures likely be in the low 40s, so just a little local hint there. Don't expect snow flying around, please. Just if it does, don't be surprised. And you see a little bit of a clipper system here. GFS brings it a lot further south, but this would likely be in the form of rain. It always is for East Tennessee, let's be honest. But portions further north getting in on it. Some lake effect snow energy. And here you go. Here is your next storm system moving into the 5th and the 6th to 7th. I'm going to mention specific time frames here. And you'll notice we have a lot of snow up here. For the upper Midwest northern U.S. regions, some ice mixing and not as much ice as European models. That's a great sign. But yeah, I mean, you could definitely see quite a few, several inches of snow there. And this just really continues a big-time cold air damming event into portions on the other side of the Appalachians here into North Carolina, Virginia. Further north as well, some sleet and some freezing rain cannot be ruled out. And just to get a little more technical, look at what you see up here. See these lowering heights. This up here, believe it or not, is a 50-50 low, as they'd call it. And these lows here are notorious for funneling in much, much colder air down into the US. So this track may be suppressed, perhaps even further south. Just have to wait and see. And we gotta go a little faster here. Look at this little linkage we get here. A little bit of a wintry system. Wouldn't really call this a snowstorm. Going into the 7th to 8th, this is storm system number 2. Tennessee, areas have already seen snow getting snow again. Or the rich get richer, as some people would say. Another little system of snow moving in here around the 8th. I mean, goodness, just so much energy flying around. And look at that. Whoa! Talking about a little bit of a Gulf low, classic Miller A storm system. Basically, when you have a low in the Gulf in winter, it's called a Miller A system. Big time snow breaking out here across the southeast. Look at that. Again, snowstorm possibly for the panhandle of Florida. Not a forecast. And this will be moving further east here on this model run, just like this. You can see out here being to link up with more energy, and before you know it, you got a big old bomb for the northeast, big time nor'easter, and behind that, temperatures are absolutely freezing cold. Look at this. Talking about here, temperatures in potentially the single digits, even negatives across some portions of Tennessee here, going into your deep south regions, into your low teens, into your single digits. Oh my gosh. Brr. Areas that aren't used to seeing cold weather are going to get absolutely blasted coming up. And for lulls and giggles, maybe some snow for Tampa Bay. Not a forecast yet again. Then another system begins firing up here around the 12th to 13th. Another snowstorm around the 13th, that time for Tennessee, the Appalachians. That is, in my opinion, a jackpot region. I'm just going to say it right now. We've been seeing a lot of models showing snow there. And look at this last frame. More snow. Another snowstorm for the Appalachians. Bet you're losing count by now, but we're seeing tons of energy flying around your North Stream, Southern Stream interacting, phasing in the perfect spot right over my house. Oh, that'd be absolutely incredible. And also, before I leave this page for good, yeah, look at those low temperatures in the northern US. -25 to -35. I don't know. Entire North Pole dropping on the US, that's what you're going to get. So just really quickly, we're going to look at your EPS, mean snowfall forecast over the next 15 days. Storm system number 1, a signal for the Midwest, a lot more prevalent. Yeah, look at that. Definitely for the Midwest there, I think is going to get a big hit on this first one. Even diving into the southeast for your second system here, and look at your snow signal here. Yeah, big time snow mean dipping all the way down here into northern Georgia and even a bit south of that too, even for your Gulf of Mexico. We'll just have to wait and see with that. For sure, some very snowy times ahead, really wild times ahead as well. Okay, and now for some of my custom maps I made last night. I really wanted to leave this in the video, so I apologize if we get close to the 30-minute mark here. Here is, well, what I think for the first system, right? Snowstorm probability for storm number 1. And you can see your legend down here, 10%, 30%, 50%, 70%, 90%. Goes as follows by 20% increments. Well, I am expecting the first system to likely cut through the Midwest regions here, where I do expect about a 70 to maybe an 80% chance of a snowstorm here, and even going into your Appalachians as well, where you're favored for more snow. Yeah, take a look at that. Portions of eastern Iowa, northern Illinois, most Indiana, and western Ohio here. That is really where I expect your snow access to be centralized. But of course, you have some models that are going a little bit crazy here and showing it further south. So I did introduce 30% probabilities going a little further south here. Even into the other side of the mountains, I would not rule out a cold air damming event for portions of North Carolina and Virginia. Potentially even in the South Carolina, but not as confident there. But yeah, you could see 50% there, 30% going down into Tennessee, and why not, right? 10% chance going even further south, just in case your 50-50 low up here is a lot stronger than models suggest and is able to cause a lot more cold air to dive down into the eastern US than forecasted. So with that, we move on to your major snowstorm probability, 6+ inches, of course. And we're talking about a solid 30% chance. These chances will definitely be rising. Probably won't have another video out by then, but just imagine it in your head. We're talking about it for some of the Midwest here, and then even into the northern plains as well. We're talking about some of your higher snowfall means present on the models, and in my honest opinion as well. Going into the Appalachians, a 10% chance. And, if it goes further south, I even included Middle Tennessee there, but really I don't expect that. Now, what about your second system? And this one was a little bit more difficult to make, and I didn't want to sound like I was hyping everything up anyway, but, there's a lot of uncertainty here, so you have to make your prediction large, and that's exactly what I did. But I'm going to be honest, I really do see a higher chance of snow across Tennessee, portions of western North Carolina, southwestern Virginia, portions of Kentucky, and West Virginia as well, for potentially a snowstorm around the 7th to the 9th time frame, give or take a couple days. Remember, you're going to have a lot more cold air diving down, North Stream, Southern Stream linking up, and I had to be careful when drawing this up because I didn't want to get myself too excited, right? You see 30% chance in the outline there, and I even include a 10% chance going way, way down into the Gulf Coast regions, because you really can't leave them out in this sort of pattern, right? Get a classic Miller A winter storm, tracks like this. What on earth is going to happen? On your northern side, you'll have snow. Not a forecast, but could see some snow here across the deep south, maybe the Gulf Coast as well. Florida, honestly, don't be shocked if you see some flakes flying at some point over the next 15 days. Alright, now I didn't get to everything I wanted to in this video. That's fine, I need to cut it here because it's getting too long and I'm running out of energy. But thank you all so much for tuning into today's video. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to smash that like button and feel free to subscribe to my corner of the weather community. Leave a section in the comment below and feel free to share this with friends, family, or on social media. Now, that being said, have a wonderful rest of your afternoon and evening, and I'll see you all really whenever I upload next, probably later this week, updating you all on this massive pattern change.